Welcome to Blender add-on development for beginners. In the previous video, we developed the add-on itself, and although fully functional, we might want to give the user some configuration options, like choosing the line color or font size. This is something we can add to the user preferences of an add-on, so let's see how that works. We define a class that derives from the AddonPreferences class. Its ID name variable identifies it as the preferences for our add-on, and although it could be anything unique, convention is to use the name variable. For the rest, the preferences are mainly a collection of properties. An int property to specify the font size, a boolean property to indicate whether we want a drop shadow around our text, and a float vector property for the line color, where we specify 4 components and a subtype of color, because we need all RGBA components. We also need a draw method to show all these properties. Unlike with operators, there's no default draw method, so if we forget to define one here, the user will not be able to see the properties. The layout is simple. We add a row, we add the line color property, followed by another row for the next related properties, that is the font size and the font shadow. We then make sure our class is registered in the register function and unregistered in the unregistered function. And now we can use these preferences in our code. For example, in the line drawing code, we can replace the hard-coded line color with a reference to the line color property in the preferences. We can locate our preferences by some unique key, which is why using name is so convenient, because it's the same everywhere in our module. Same goes for the text drawing code. Instead of always showing a drop shadow, we check if the user wants one, and if so, enable it and configure it, or if they don't want it, disable it. And instead of a hard-coded font size, we refer to the font size property. To test all this, we need to save the file and install the add-on, and don't forget to restart Blender if you ran the script earlier, otherwise we will have multiple copies of the draw handler. We install the add-on in the usual way by going to Preferences, Add-ons, Install from Disk, locate the file we saved, and we see it is enabled automatically. We then expand it and we see we have configuration options, color, font size, etc. Let's change the default color. Bright green looks nice, and a bigger font size. And if we then select a few objects and go to the Viewport Overlay panel, we can enable the overlay, and indeed the lines are now green and the labels are larger. If we change something in the preferences, like the color, the effect in the viewport is immediate. Providing options in the user preferences can greatly enhance the user experience, and sometimes it's not even a luxury. Think of people with reduced eyesight, for example. So I recommend to always add at least color and size options if possible. Okay, so much for the user experience. But we also want to make our add-on as robust as possible. And that is the subject of the final video in this module. It is a bit technical, even compared to all the code you already saw in the previous videos, so it's optional, but I suggest giving it a quick glance nevertheless. I promise it will be short. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.